What's
How you
up,
doing?
man?
My name's Andrew.
Name's Nate. How you doing today?
You know, today's been a good day.
Okay.
Definitely better than most.
Better than most.
Yeah, but today's been good, which is a positive.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You say better than most. How is it usually?
I mean, some days are definitely better.
Yeah.
But a lot of days aren't.
Right.
And that's just kind of been a recent thing, probably the past few months.
Okay.
I just kind of feel like, things about me have changed in ways that I don't want to do.
Okay. Before we get into this whole thing, let's talk a little bit about yourself.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons I came here actually was because I kind of was reading through your bio and all that, and I saw that you played college baseball,
Mm-hmm.
and I did too.
Really?
Yeah, I played my whole life, and I played in college at Kaiser University.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually transferred to Kaiser, and played my last 2 years there.
Cool.
So I mean, baseball's definitely been something that has always brought me to peace, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's how a lot of people, I'm sure, it might be one of the things we do.
Yeah.
But, so I felt like that was something that we could both relate to at least. And
Yeah.
that's kind of one of the main reasons I came and chose you.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Kaiser's in Florida, right?
Yeah, it's in West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach. Awesome. Still good beaches over there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? Where'd you play?
I played at Fairleigh Dickinson. It's up in Jersey.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I've heard good things about that program.
Yeah.
I actually have a friend that went there.
Okay. Yeah.
He didn't play there. He actually played football there.
Really?
But, yeah, but he said like the guys on the team were, they were all good guys.
Yeah.
And that's something that is good to hear.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably relate to this. You meet a lot of good people in baseball, make a lot of good connections.
Oh, for sure. I mean, baseball is one of those, or not one of those, but I'm sure like it's kind of the same way with every sport.
Mm-hmm.
Going to college. I knew people that didn't play sports in college, and they always said they'd join a frat
Yeah.
or like a sorority,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the way that they made friends. But
Right.
with athletes and being a baseball player, I know for a fact that going somewhere where you're already acquainted with about 40 guys,
Yeah.
it's pretty easy to make friends.
Right.
And that was a definite positive for me, and that's one thing that made me, or even brought me closer to the sport,
Mm-hmm.
was just being on a team in
Mhm.
college is definitely like very good way to make friends, and even like lifelong friends. I've met some of my
Right.
closest friends playing baseball.
Really? That's awesome, man. So let's bring it to today. What brings you in here today?
So I'm in a relationship of 5 years,
Mhm.
and everything was going very smoothly. But lately in the past like 3 or 4 or 5 months, things have kind of been going not the way that they used to, and it's kind of taking a toll on me, and I'm sure it's taking a toll on her.
Okay.
But the reason being is, she kind of, about 5 months ago, 4 months ago, brought up or started to bring up marriage like a lot.
Okay.
And she kind of has her mindset on it, which I can understand, but for me personally, it's kind of one of those things where I just don't feel like I'm ready yet,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I have things that I haven't done, which I still very much would like to do before marriage. And I feel like getting married, and I know with marriage a lot of times comes with kids and having kids, like that's kind of the next step after marriage a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if that step is taken, then it would definitely not allow me to do the things that I want to do, like travel, and I kind of want to pick up other hobbies. Like I'd like to start fishing a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe get into boating. Maybe buy a boat. But I know that getting married and having to support that, or like even support kids, can definitely be very time consuming, and it would kind of not allow me to do things I would like to do.
Right. Okay. How long did you say you're with your current girlfriend for?
We've been together for 5 years.
5 years, you
Yeah,
said?
we started off a little bit after, like right after college, so
Mhm.
around like not right after college, right before I went to medical school,
Mhm.
but about 2 or 3 years after college is when we started.
Okay. So how often would you say that you two talk about marriage? How often does it get brought up?
She brings it up a lot, like almost like every day, if not like every other.
Okay.
And those conversations never go the way that she wants them to go, nor do I want them to go. And it's starting to really hurt our relationship and our the way that we feel about each other. I hate to use the word resent, but it's definitely pulling me away from her. And I kind of feel like I want more space from her, and I never really felt that way.
Yeah.
So it definitely is, something that I'm very concerned about for the future of us, because the whole marriage thing is something that she's very, very set on.
Right.
And she's kind of stubborn about it. Every time I try to talk to her about it, or be like, hey, can we just figure something out, a little bit of a middle ground? She always kind of says no.
Really?
To that.
Okay.
And she's very set on what she wants.
Okay.
And I've never really seen that out of her until now.
Okay. So have you ever considered counseling, couple counseling?
It's something that has crossed my mind, but I felt like going to a therapist alone first might be the best move, because I know that we know another couple who kind of went through the same thing, and when my buddy kind of mentioned to her couples therapy, it actually angered her even more, because she felt that couples therapy was something that was for people with serious issues. And I feel like she would view it as something that where I'm concerned about our relationship, and I feel like I'm not there yet with it, but it's definitely the direction that it's going.
So you mentioned something about serious issues. What would you consider your?
So the couple that we knew was they were married.
Okay.
And they, it was about having children for them. But when he mentioned it to her, it kind of tipped her off, and
Right.
it was very close to ending their marriage, but I think they resolved it, and they're all good now. But
Okay.
I feel like with my girlfriend, the way that she's been talking about getting married and all that stuff, she views it as something where I should definitely be on board with it, automatically.
Yeah.
And she kind of views it as something where I don't think she's the girl, or where she's viewing it as, I shouldn't be acting like this because she thinks that I'm feeling that she's not the girl I want to be married to, and that's not the case. I'm just not ready, and she just kind of won't hear me out on that.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your past history, your family history.
So I grew up, in a good family,
Okay.
but before baseball, I actually wanted to play ice hockey. Yeah, and being from South Florida, it's kind of odd.
That's
but
all.
And it's kind of costly.
Yeah.
Especially for traveling. The nearest hockey rink was an hour away.
Right.
So my parents definitely pushed me more into baseball, and it worked out because I definitely ended up liking baseball a lot. The whole hockey thing lasted a couple of years, and then I kind of wanted to focus more on baseball.
Okay.
And so that worked out. But my mom was definitely, my mom more so than my dad. My dad, was kind of not really nearly as pushy as my mom. He kind of sat to the side and said, you know what, you can deal with this.
Would you say he kind of went with the flow with your mom?
Yeah, he kind of just went with the flow with it, especially when it came to me about a lot of things. But my mom being pushy for me for baseball at the time, I felt like I was being forced to do something that I didn't necessarily want to do.
Right.
But being a kid, I listened to my parents, and I went with it, and it ended up being something that I actually really liked, and I ended up loving the sport. But even so, I feel like that connects a lot to what my girlfriend is doing right now, as far as being pushy.
Right.
And the feelings that I felt toward my mom when I was a kid kind of reflect on what she's doing right now, and that's kind of becoming an issue for me.
Okay, so you can understand that you're kind of relating what your girlfriend's doing to what your mother kind of did too.
Definitely, I can definitely see a correlation there, and whenever I see my girlfriend now, especially when we talk about the whole marriage thing, I feel like I'm looking at my mom.
Have you ever mentioned that to her?
Not really, but I mean, she knows that my mom was kind of very pushy, especially even for medical school. About a year in medical school, I didn't feel that it was something that I wanted to do. I felt very overwhelmed, and it was a lot of work, and it was something that I just wasn't cut out for.
Right.
And my mom, when I told her that dropping out of medical school was something I was thinking about, she wasn't having it at all, and she kind of forced me to stay into it. And now it's a lot better, but my mom has always been pushy, and she knows that. I've talked to her about that before, so I feel like she just isn't, you know, respecting that as much as she should.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that's the way that she feels, and she's voicing it. And I feel like I'm kind of a little bit confused on how to deal with it.
Right. Okay. When your mother would push you, right, when you were younger, did it turn to arguments? How did that work out?
It was kind of just more like me throwing a fit.
Okay.
More than anything, because, you know, I was just a kid.
Right.
And like I said before, like, kids listen to their parents.
Correct. Yeah.
And so, like, you know, something that I was always taught was that, you know, not just respect your parents, but respect, like, you know, your grandparents and just, like, adults in general.
Right.
So I kind of just listened. But looking back, you know, my mom was definitely a little bit closed off to just, like, kind of letting me be who I wanted to be about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I can just see a lot of that in my girlfriend right now. She's not really respecting the fact that I don't want to get married.
Right.
And I just don't know what to do anymore.
Okay. Now, have you tried pondering different ideas? Like, have you tried working things out with her, or?
You know, I've tried to have conversation with her about coming to a middle ground, but
Mhm.
every time I try to, you know, bring that situation up, she kind of just gets even more angry
Okay.
because her heart, I guess, is just so set on getting married that, you know, there's nothing I can really do about it. And, you know, that's when I kind of thought, okay, I might want to, you know, maybe go see a therapist because it's just so taxing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, like, so overwhelming. It's starting to affect me in other areas in life, and I don't like that.
Can you give me examples?
I mean, maybe, like, you know, at work, I definitely notice a little bit of a difference. You know, work is always something that, you know, like, going in and helping people. I've always wanted to help people.
Right.
And so, like, I always felt, you know, that I was being very productive by going into work, you know. And nowadays, I go into work and I feel, like, very tired and just, like, stressed out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because my mind is always just drifting over to the whole situation with my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of affecting not only myself but my other people at work, and like, I definitely feel like I can't let that happen. You know,
Right.
being a medical doctor, you know,
Yeah.
people depend on me a lot,
Right.
and I feel like my work is, you know, starting to slip a little bit,
Mhm.
and I just can't live with the fact that, like, you know, people aren't getting the treatment they deserve,
Right.
and that's definitely been something that has been a rough thing for me to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Would you say that others are noticing that?
you know, some of my coworkers, I'm very close with one of my coworkers, and he's kind of brought it up to me a few times where I've shown up to work and, like, I've definitely been off,
Right.
or, like, I look tired, and, like, he knows that I was never like that until, you know, just a few months ago. But he definitely has noticed a lot of change in my attitude, and, you know, I'm just not really quite myself lately.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So, what would you say is a coping mechanism that you tend to have? Like, how do you de-stress yourself?
so one of the things that I've recently started doing again is using marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got a prescription for it.
Okay.
So I'm not self-medicating,
Right.
but I feel like it's something that my girlfriend definitely hates.
Really? Okay.
But I feel like it, you know, for me personally, it helps me a lot. It helps me, like, de-stress and, you know, just kind of come back down
Right.
from being so, like, overwhelmed and stressed out. And
Mhm.
I get very anxious nowadays, you know,
Mhm.
but just by, you know, smoking marijuana, I feel like it's just something that kind of calms me down and, you know, makes life a little bit easier to go through day to day.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you ever use marijuana before?
Yeah, I used it pretty often in college.
Okay.
My girlfriend knows that. You know, but she never really said that she hated it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I thought by using it again, she wouldn't really care. But in college, at the time, you know, I felt like it was just, like, one of those cool things to do, and, like,
Right.
I never really used it for any certain situation or, you know, because I was stressed or anxious.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something where sometimes, you know, I'd feel like, damn, like, I need to, you know, go get high or
Like
something
a
like
need type of thing?
that. Not necessarily a need, but
Mhm.
something where I was just like, wow, today's been a long day. Like,
Okay.
it was more so for, like, that
Okay.
versus now. It's kind of like that, but not as much. I'm kind of using because, you know, I feel that's the only way for me to be able to not be so stressed out
Mm-hmm.
in my relationship. And, you know, it's something that, you know, I don't necessarily view it as, like, an awful thing, but it's just one of the only ways. But my girlfriend definitely is not a fan,
Okay.
and I just don't know. That's another, like, roadblock for us where I can't figure out like what am I gonna do if I
Yeah.
can't use if I can't smoke marijuana, then like what else am I gonna do? You know what I mean? So that's kind of like everything is just kind of spiraling,
Right.
and that's why I'm just so like lost and confused about what to do.
Right. So would you say that the two like main things that are going on with argument wise, would it be like marijuana and also the marriage
Yeah,
part?
they definitely spark argument,
Okay.
and then everything always comes back to the whole getting married thing.
Yeah,
She
okay.
brings up like responsibility a lot. She views like using marijuana as like something that's like very like like not necessarily childish, but like very like irresponsible. Like I'm not like conscious of everything around me,
Mm-hmm.
which is in a sense it's true,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, it's just I think of it as like more helpful than not, and she just doesn't view it that way.
Did you try talking to her about that?
I've tried,
Just kinda goes
but
over it.
so- she was never really that stubborn before, but nowadays, especially with the marriage thing and the using marijuana thing, like she seems very stubborn, and like her idea about it's just not going to change, and
Right.
nothing can change it.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned obviously like your marriage, and you said that you wanted to travel more, right?
mm-hmm.
Okay. And probably what else you want to travel? What else was it?
I'd like to pick up. I always like to fish,
Okay.
and going to school in South Florida, I did a little bit down there, and it's something that I've wanted to pick back up.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, buying a boat is something that I've always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if I got married, I just wouldn't have that kind of time
Right.
on my hands to do it as much as I'd want to,
Mm-hmm.
especially like just start it and like learn more about it.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Have you ever tried picking up like some kind of hobby with your girlfriend, or is it more individual hobbies you're looking for?
it's not necessarily hobbies, but we've tried like waking up and like going for a morning walk.
Mhm.
Just kind of like and first thing in the morning, kind of like get active a little bit and like
Right.
have a good start to the day. But those kind of stopped when things started to get a little bit worse with like her about me smoking marijuana
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. I tried
Okay.
bringing her on more dates
Mm-hmm.
than because we didn't really go on too many dates. We in the early days we did
Mhm.
a lot, but it kind of stopped. So I kind of tried to spark that back up,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps for a little bit,
Yeah.
but just over time she started to just not even think that that's something that we can do to
Mm-hmm.
help the situation.
Okay. In your ideal situation, let's say, what would you say would fix the issues that you're having right now?
So I've thought about it a lot, and all that I want is to come to a middle ground, like kind of an agreement about something,
Mhm.
anything. We recently got a dog.
Mm.
Yeah, and I thought that might be something that we could all like both kind of by loving the dog, and kind of bring us back to a calmer state and
Mhm.
things, and kind of help our relationship out.
Right.
And the dog, it's helped a little bit, but at the same time, like it's kind of me thinking like positively. It's not really helping all that much,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just kind of the one thing that I've tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also tried talking to her, but talking to her always results in an argument.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I just where I'm at right now, I don't know what more I can do.
Got you. Okay. Well, so basically what we kind of gone over today was that you have your 5-year relationship with your right now his girlfriend. Are you thinking about pursuing at all a marriage, or is it completely out of the picture?
I definitely think that down the road, like
Yeah.
it's something I want to do. Like I definitely want to marry her at some point. I can't really see myself marrying anybody else,
Right.
but just not right now.
Okay. Now, is it completely out of the realm also to bring your girlfriend in here?
It's something I can talk to her about for
Mhm.
sure. I don't really know how she's gonna react,
Mm-hmm.
but with her being stubborn and all, like I feel like she's also very like personal, like doesn't really speak about her issues to anybody else. Like she
Mhm.
doesn't speak about it to her friends. I know that.
Right.
She like her personal life is something that's very important to her.
Very, very private, you would
Yeah,
say?
a very private
Okay, got
person.
you.
So I don't know how she'd feel about couples therapy,
Mhm.
but I definitely feel like it would help.
Yeah.
So I'll bring it up to her.
Yeah,
and
if you
we'll
feel
see
that's a
what
good idea, then
Yeah,
yeah, try
that's
that out.
something I can definitely talk to her
Yeah.
about.
Okay. Cool. Well, it's been good talking to you today. I feel like we went through over a lot of points, and let's try to do something next week if that works for you.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
19 minutes.